Have you ever written code that looks like if else, if else, if else, and at some point you're like, bro, am I coding or am I playing Jenga with my career? Today, I'm gonna show you a design pattern that kills ugly if else chains, makes your code clean, flexible, and senior level, and once you see it, you'll never unsee it. This is the chain of responsibility pattern. Let's go. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what is the chain of responsibility pattern, know when to use it and when not to, build a real C# example step by step, and most importantly, you'll be able to explain it confidently in an interview. That's the goal. Real understanding, no fluff. And a quick reminder, this video is part of my series Design Patterns Code Like a Senior Dev, where we break down scary patterns into simple, practical, real-life examples. And if you're serious about leveling up, check out the other episodes after this one. Alright, story time. Imagine you're building an API request validation pipeline. Every request needs authentication checks, authorization checks, validation check, and maybe rate limiting. And you start something like this. If not authenticated, we return a 401. If it is not authorized, we return a 403. If it is not valid, we return 400, and else we'll process the request. Looks innocent, but give it 3 months, 7 more conditions, and 1 new teammate. And boom. Welcome to if else hell. This is exactly where chain of responsibility walks in like a senior dev. Coffee in one hand and laptop in the other. But before we code, let me explain the idea in one simple line. Ready? Chain of responsibility equals pass the request along a chain of handlers until one of them handles it. Think of customer support. You call the customer support, first agent tries. If he can't solve the problem, he forwards you to the next one. Next agent tries, can't solve, forwards you again. Finally, a senior agent solves it. That is the chain of responsibility. No big switch, no giant if else, just a chain. Now, let's build this properly in C#. And I promise, this will be clean, readable, and interview ready. Step 1. The handler interface. Every handler in the chain needs 2 things, a way to handle the request and a way to point it to the next handler. So let's start with an interface. This interface would be simple. iRequestHandler interface, and then it would contain 2 methods. One would be setNext and another would be handle. Simple, no drama. Step 2. The base handler. Now instead of repeating code in every handler, we create a base class, an abstract class. We create the abstract class, we declare a private next handler, we set the next handler, and then we handle. So this handle would just contain the logic that would handle the request. This, my friends, is the chain logic. If one handler can't handle it, it passes it forward. Step 3 would be creating concrete handlers. Authentication handler would try to check if the request is authenticated. If not, it'll log it and return. If it passes that check, it would call the handle method on the base, which would in turn call the next handler in the pipe. Translation: if you're not logged in, go home. Authorization handler. Authorization handler also does the similar. It checks if the request is authorized to access the resource. If not, it logs it and returns it. If yes, it calls the handle on the base, which would in turn call the next handler. And in summary, this one says, okay, you're logged in, but are you allowed? And then there is validation handler. Validation handler on the similar basis just check like if the request is valid. If it is valid, then it goes ahead and call the base.handle. If not, it just logs it and returns the request. The request model. The request model just has like 3 bools that would check like if the request is authenticated, authorized, or is valid. Simple POCO, no magic. Now the fun part, we build the chain. So we'll set up the chain by setting the next of auth handler to be the authorization handler. And similarly, authorization handlers next would be the validation handler. We create the request and we call authorization handler.handle request. What it would do is the request would enter the chain, flows through each handler, and stops when someone says no. Now here's the part where most developers go, okay, but why not just use if else? And that is an excellent question. Let's answer it. There are 3 big reasons of not doing so. Number 1, open close principle. You can add new handlers without touching the existing ones, so your code remains open for extension but closed for modification. Number 2, single responsibility principle. Each handler does one thing and one thing only. It is clean and testable. Number 3, readability. This code read like a pipeline, not a crime scene. Let me be very honest about it. If you have 2 simple conditions, don't bring a design pattern bazooka. Use this when logic is growing, order matters, and conditions will change over time. And if you're enjoying this style of learning, make sure to check out the other videos in my series, Proxy, Facade, Decorator, all broken down in the same way. So today we learned what chain of responsibility actually is, why it exists, when to use it, and how to implement it in C# like a pro. No more ugly if-else chain, no more spaghetti code. You're officially thinking like a senior dev. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, take care, keep coding.